Well, Across the Spider-Verse has been a massive hit, crossing $500 million at the box office. So many fans, me included, are absolutely stoked about Beyond the Spider-Verse dropping next March. But will it? We've got some recent reports from some of the animators on that team that seem to call that release date into question, and more importantly, some of the working conditions going on behind the scenes. Let's break down the full report. Well, most people were pretty happy with Across the Spider-Verse, and are definitely looking forward to the follow-up, Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now, as of right now, Sony has set a release date for March of 2024, but many people have been wondering if that's actually when the film is going to drop. There have been tons of recent delays to projects across the movie spectrum, so I would not be surprised if Beyond the Spider-Verse falls victim to this, and given the timeframes associated with animation, well, the possibilities of delay seem to only go up. Now recently there was a report via Vulture magazine, which dove into some of the stuff going on with the animation that includes not only an update, but some really concerning aspects of how this is being developed. Now, in their report, they actually quote one animator that says that there's no possible way this movie is going to be released next March, which, as a fan, I find pretty disappointing. Now, they did go on to say, and I quote, "The only progress that has been made on the third one is any exploration or tests that were done before the movie was split into two parts." This means some of the concepts that were part of the film before it got split that are definitely showing up in the third movie have kind of been aired out, but it sounds like to me very little animation has actually been done at this point. I do suspect a lot of the voice parts have been recorded, but it is pretty concerning to me if they haven't done any actual work, because we all know how long animation takes. The animation portion of the current film was absolutely outstanding, and I don't think anybody can complain about it, but it appears there's some things going on behind the scenes that should be concerning the fans, and I think you should know. Now, in that same article, they talked to several visual effects and animation workers who are associated with the project and worked on the film, and some of the things they revealed were rather concerning. They actually said they were worked so hard, over 100 artists have chose to leave the project, basically due to the challenging schedule and degrading work environment that they were placed under by Sony and Marvel. According to a few undisclosed artists who worked on the films, they've claimed that many people working on these projects worked 11 hours a day, sometimes 7 days a week, putting in more than 70 hours at a time, which is pretty incredible. Now, the Vulture does go on to say that Sony executive producer Amy Pascal and Across the Spider-Verse producer Phil Lord have both been what they called exposed for toxic leadership amid the frenzy of horrible working conditions. Now, what they claim is the two of them would consistently breathe down the necks of every artist to ensure good work was being done, and if not, they forced them to start over and over again. Now, honestly, with quality control, this is something that often happens, but work conditions kind of have to be maintained, and it sounds like the pressure of this movie pushed things pretty far. Now, Amy Pascal had a couple of quotes in the article, which kind of give you an idea of her attitude, saying if the story isn't right, you have to keep going until it is, and then added, I guess, welcome to making a movie. Now, I don't work in the movie industry, so I don't want to judge how this is being done, but it is concerning when you see 100 people walk off a project. That's not what normally happens, and not a sign of good things going on behind the scenes. So I do think all of this is definitely going to impact the Beyond the Spider-Verse release date, and the public backlash from this recent article, if it gets pretty big, you might see Sony really slow down their progress moving forward in order to ensure the goodwill of the fans is maintained by treating their artists right. Given the response to those secret invasion credits done by AI and how up in arms social media is, I'm pretty sure Sony is going to be responsive to this. I want them to have high quality controls. This is something Sony has missed in the past. You just have to look to projects like Morbius for that. But there's always a balance, and if you have to take a little longer to get a project right because your quality controls are high, well, you take the time to do it. You don't overwork your people. If Spider-Man 4 actually drops in March of next year, well, we're going to have to wait and see.